So the concept of data minimization, very underestimated, because we know whenever we have meetings to identify data processing activities, what we go ahead with is, yeah, you know what? Data minimization, okay, the principle is there, it's well acknowledged, and then we go ahead and actually talk about the data processing activity. Today, we really want to understand what the concept of data minimization is in accordance to GDPR and why it's so fundamental for all businesses. Let's think of a direct marketing campaign. Data minimization is the difference between asking your prospect for a first name, surname, email address, telephone number, or perhaps only the first name and the email address. In which scenario are you going to have perhaps a bigger ROIs and better turnover? Now, this may be different for business to business. And it's, of course, your job as a business leader, as a marketer, to identify the exact data which you need. I have advised so many large enterprises, and I hear the same thing all the time again. The reason why many startups actually can outcompete so many big businesses is because they're from the beginning already focused so much on having the right data, the right data they need. Whereas I hear, when I was in one of my previous jobs, Amr, we need this data as well and this data, and you know what, the more data we have, the better. But the thing is, that may have worked before, but it doesn't work anymore. Because the truth is that when customers see that a business respects their privacy and isn't asking for excessive information, it actually really fosters a sense of trust and loyalty, which can lead to higher customer retention and brand reputation. Well, in other words, asking for excessive information about your prospect that you actually do not need can create mistrust in consumer behavior towards your business. And I'm going to actually give you a very pragmatic example towards this. Imagine our direct marketing campaign. You're asking for email address and telephone number. Well, for the email address and many businesses, they're very good with the GDPR. They have very good documentations. They have everything implemented and so on, but they have not understood the core principle of the GDPR, and hence everything else just goes down the drain. By the way, I'm going to give you a pro tip as well at the end of the video for your ROPAs. So what I mean by asking for excessive information about your prospect that you actually do not need can create mistrust in consumer behavior towards your business is that Gen Zs, I love repeating that in every single video, Gen Zs are the privacy generations who understand how marketing funnel works, who understand how valuable their email addresses and their personal data is to businesses. And it's not like, okay, you're providing me this value, for example, I don't know, whatever your direct marketing campaign is, you're providing me this value as a consumer or as a prospect. We know how the marketing funnel works. You want my email address to nurture me, that's fine, you can have that. Take my email address, let's stay in touch. I will keep hearing from you if I want to, and I know I can unsubscribe at any time. I'm in the safe place, it's fine. But if you're also asking me for my telephone number, and even if you're putting that optional, I know what you're doing. I know that I'm going to be receiving perhaps sales calls. Neither have you put that in the beginning of your marketing campaign that, you know what, we're going to give you this if you click here. But at the end of the day, no, you didn't give me this if I clicked here and you gave you my email address, but you actually want to go ahead and with the sales call. So you weren't very transparent with that. It's probably not even in your privacy statement that you're going to do that. By the way, again, this is from scenario to scenario differently. Perhaps your business strategy is that you only want the people who are interested in a sale. But in that case, you would put in your privacy statement, you would make sure that you communicate your marketing campaign in that way. But the reason I'm taking that as an example is because I've came across it so many times. And whenever we implemented data minimization, and whenever we implemented data minimization principles in marketing teams, especially, 1 year later, one year later, I would meet them and they would be like, you know what, our ROIs look completely differently. Now even go a step further and think of, okay, you're providing a freebie or you're providing something to your prospect. That prospect really wants that and he's going to give you your email address, but he doesn't want to give you your phone number. What is he going to do if it's not an optional field? Well, he's just going to put in a wrong number. And I know you and I have done that a lot of times, that we have put wrong telephone numbers because we do not want to receive any phone calls from somebody. So that is the next very important point. Asking for precise personal data, on the other hand, can decrease the fear people have while signing up to your offer, and this will automatically result in much more accurate data. You don't want wrong telephone numbers. Either ask for the telephone number and get the right one and communicate with your prospects exactly what your end goal is or where the marketing funnel is leading you. Let them know a sense and build that trust from the beginning, build that transparency from the beginning. And I absolutely love how these series are going because, we're talking about, first day we talked about transparency, then we talked about, privacy rights, and now we're talking about data minimization, because data minimization, all about that. Like, that is what I always say, that the GDPR is a complete playbook, pushes you to do things that you should be doing anyway. So the core message for today is that the concept of data minimization does not mean to have less data for your business. It is about having the right data to maximize brand, audience relationships, and ROIs. Again, guys, the data protection, GDPR, is the gold standard of privacy, which is telling you exactly how we as a human being think. Our privacy, we only give away our privacy if somebody else is transparent enough for us to trust them. people and human beings by natural instinct are only willing to give as much information as they want to give out. And that just proves that, there's a fly. And that just proves that the GDPR pushes you to do things that you should be doing anyway. You can just think of the GDPR as the best marketing and business practices from the last decades and put that into writing. And of course, guys, we always like to give you some dry stuff as well, what the GDPR actually says. Article 5, Section 1, lit C of the GDPR says that personal data shall be adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary in relation to the purpose for which they are processed. Data minimization. Article 25 of the GDPR provides that this approach shall be applied by default to each specific purpose of the processing. Do you understand how important this is? If the GDPR, the law, the umbrella of the European Union, how to handle the personal data in your business activities. And by the way, the European Union is very smart. They're very clever. Honorable members of parliament understood the fact that we have to foster businesses and support businesses. So the GDPR is not going to tell you to do things that will harm your business, because the EU's agenda is to increase economic output anyway. So imagine how important it is if the GDPR provides that this approach shall be applied by default to each specific purpose of the processing. And reducing the risk of data breaches and having satisfied data protection authorities is just another extra side benefit. The main benefit to your business is always having higher businesses. But while having a higher and better business and income and revenue, it's also important to prevent and mitigate losses. And hence, data minimization leads to reduced risk of data breaches and satisfied data protection authorities. So you can actually maximize this possibility of reducing your risk of data breaches and satisfying data protection authorities whenever you get in trouble with them, by always mention data minimization purposes in your record of processing activities and send it alongside any information which the data protection authority requested, because it just shows a certain understanding of the GDPR, which frankly speaking many businesses in the world are lacking till today. And to be honest with you, that's fine, because only 6 years old, right? We're still adapting to the better ways of working. Guys, I hope you like this video, and I shall see you on the next one.